Welcome to the Vision and Purpose podcast, where we dive deep into the lives of incredible people who have made a mark on the world. Join us as we explore the journeys, stories, and passions of individuals who have achieved extraordinary feats, shattered barriers, and inspired us all. And now your host, Dr. Sharon H. Porter. Hello and welcome to Vision and Purpose Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Sharon H. Porter, and today we are featuring Maria Jordan. Maria M.J. Jordan, formerly known as Maria Wills, is a multi-talented individual hailing from Prince George's County, Maryland. Yes. Her journey in the world of entertainment began at the tender age of 15 when she embarked on a career as a model and actress. Her very first photo shoot catapulted her to the cover of Maven International magazine, marking the inception of her remarkable career. On the theatrical stage, she graced the legendary Lincoln Theater in her debut play, Common Realities. I am super excited to welcome Miss Maria Jordan. Welcome.
Well, thank you so much for having me today. I'm so excited to be here. And I really just appreciate the invite.
Absolutely. And I am just so thrilled to see that you are originally from Prince George's County, Maryland, relocated to the Atlanta, Georgia. I'm currently sitting in Prince George's County, Maryland. Yes. I said she didn't know that. Oh my goodness.
That is awesome.
I know. I'm so excited. So I've got to, and I understand you actually moved to Atlanta just to further your career. And so I want you to start there for us. Talk about that journey from home to Atlanta and how that really has catapulted your career.
Absolutely. Well, I went to college at Drexel University in Philadelphia. And I have to mention that because that's where I started my company. So when I was in college, I started a company called Self-Explanatory Productions, where I hosted and produced fashion shows for different charities and organizations. So I did my first show for the St. Jude and Research Hospital for sickle cell anemia. And since then, when I moved to Atlanta, I was still doing my event production, and I did a couple of events here for the Lung Cancer Foundation. I worked with a couple of different nonprofits. And so from there, that kind of pushed me into media. When I got here, maybe a year later, I started an event called Spotlight Tuesdays, which was an open mic night for different artists, indie artists, and it became a really popular place for amazing music in Atlanta. And so I have all these backgrounds. So music is my number one passion. I went to college for music, and then I started the Spotlight Tuesdays here in Atlanta, and that was successful. And I was hosting it. And then from there, I started hosting other events like the Sweet Amber Music Festival in Atlanta. And it just one door opened another.
That is really incredible, how it started and then just how it catapulted, basically, just from one thing
it really did.
to the next. That's amazing. And so radio, you have worked in radio, and you did now the podcast, Afternoon Tea, and that has just created a whole entity in itself. So I can't wait to hear about that. So talk about your start in radio, because you worked with some great people.
Yes, I have. So I had the opportunity to be a co-host on Girl Power Hour, which was on Real 1100 AM radio here in Atlanta. So I was a co-host, and I would do a lot of the remotes, like live remotes. So I did like the Black Enterprise conference, entrepreneurial conference in Miami. And I would host these events or just interview a lot of awesome people And with Girl Power Hour, it was a lot of awesome women. So we just focused on women who were influential. And so from that, I kind of got inspired to start my own show. So Afternoon Tea Radio actually started on air on Real 1100 AM on Thursdays at 12 p.m. Eastern Time several years ago. And from Afternoon Tea Radio, I interviewed all different type of people. I interviewed a lot of, Candy Bearers. I've interviewed Zane, the author. I got to interview a lot of amazing actors, musicians. Kel from Keenan and Kel, that was one of my favorite interviews. And then I also had the opportunity from that to do a lot of live events, hosting a lot of events, and I was hired. So I do freelancing as a correspondent. So I actually did the One Music Fest in Atlanta and had the opportunity to interview a lot of, who did I interview there? Too Short, Jadena. It was just the whole cast from the New Edition. So I just, a lot of opportunities. Just again, I am a person, I believe that the Lord will open doors for you and you just walk through. And if you don't like it, walk back out. But I feel like you're going in the right direction when things just open up for you. And that's been my journey.
I love that. I really do. And so you even had the opportunity to be featured with the Red Table Talk with Jada Pinkett Smith. Can you tell us about that?
It's like I said, you just never know who's watching. So my advice to everyone is just to stay ready. So I got an email or a phone call from someone from their team. They were doing Red Table Talk live in Atlanta and they were looking for facilitators. So I was contacted to facilitate Red Table Talk live in Atlanta. I got the opportunity to not only speak with other media professionals, but also got the opportunity to speak with Jada herself as well as her mom. And it was awesome. It was just a great experience being someone in media who absolutely loves interviewing people, learning different perspectives. It was just a blessing to be able to speak with her and see that she's doing something that I actually ultimately want to do. So it was just a full circle moment for me.
I love that. And you really, you said something that to me is huge about just always being ready, right?
Oh, yeah.
And every day, and you hear this often, but every day is an interview, whether we know it or not, right? Because you never know who's watching. And we can't despise humble beginnings, small beginnings.
Oh, no. Everyone has to start somewhere.
Exactly.
I just say, come with your A game and be kind to people because you never know who will be someone later. No matter where they are right now. You hear the stories all the time. Someone mean to the coffee person, and then that person ends up being the executive. So you just lead with kindness, come with your A game, know what you're doing, know what you're talking about. And if you don't know, be honest in that way as well, and be open to learning. And then you can't fail, and as these opportunities, people know when you're being authentic.
Exactly.
So as these opportunities present themselves, you're ready.
I love that. And so when did you know that this was truly the direction that you wanted to go? Because I often think I'm an educator by profession, right? I currently serve as an elementary principal and I'm passionate about education. I love education.
Yeah.
This whole media space did not come to me till very late in life, right? And once I began it, I loved it, right? I even opened my own studio, to do that because I wanted it so badly, right?
Yeah.
But it did not come to me at an early age. And so I'm just interested in when you knew that this was your path.
What's interesting is I'd have to say the same for myself. Like I started in the entertainment industry. When I was younger, I was going to be a singer and a songwriter. You couldn't tell me anything. And then when I went to college, I also went to college for music. But one thing that I've always loved is people. I love learning from people. I love being able to put into people and to be able to share my experiences, my perspective. I love conversations. I love learning. So with that, even though it was never intentional for me, I never was like, you know what, I'm gonna be on the radio.
Right.
That alone was kind of made it so I had always had an interest. I just didn't know what that looked like. So what I don't know. I was hosting Spotlight Tuesdays. I was doing a lot of events hosting. And I just one day was like, you know what? I have an interest in radio. And from that, the Girl Power Hour opportunity came. It was a course, and you had to fill out an application, you had to interview. And I got this opportunity, and it was just fun and natural for me.
Wow.
And I truly believe, like I said before, that when you're moving forward, I'm a God-fearing woman. I pray. And I believe that when you ask for direction, he'll give it to you. And I just asked for direction, and I would, opportunities continue to this day to present themselves. And I'm just following my passions, and sometimes that change, and that's fine, but I just go for it. Mm-hmm. So from the radio show, Afternoon Tea Radio, again, started on Real 1100 AM, but now I wanted to do that in person interviews. So we have this podcast and YouTube show now. So I'm just going with the flow. Yes. And I'm just, I want to be the next Oprah girl.
Yes. So, oh, of course.
And so I knew that I had to be able to make content that let them see that I can do talk show style. Absolutely. So that was the real drive to doing the YouTube show, and making it a visual and not just audio.
Okay. And I think that's so important. Because you had the foresight to say, I need to move from A to B, and this is what I need to do in order to do that. And so when we are making our moves, because it does take a plan, and I want people to understand that you have your passion, you have the thing, the ideas, right, that's swirling around in your head, but you have to actually sit down and be strategic about this.
Absolutely.
It just doesn't happen, right? This is
you gotta help God out. You gotta help him out.
You gotta help him out.
You can't be praying and wishing and hoping.
Faith without works.
You have to create the atmosphere. You have to live like you already have it.
Ooh, girl, you
have to do it. And there's nothing else around that, because there's a lot of people that want to do the same thing that you want to do. Exactly. And so how do you make your mark? Just do it. If you don't know how you are different, you learn that by doing it. So you just have to go for it.
And and a lot of people, and I want you to speak to this too, because now, especially during COVID and post-COVID, people are, coming out the woodworks with talk shows, video, virtual and all these things, but you cannot let that be a barrier to you. We can say that the market is saturated, but no one is you. No one has what you have.
What market isn't saturated?
Exactly.
I mean, everyone's doing something somewhere. Yes. And the reality is that media has shifted, and you have social media, you have YouTube, you have all of these outlets for the regular person to share their perspective, so that's going to happen. And one thing is, I don't do this because I'm just looking, by all means, a check would be nice. But that's not the only reason that I do this. I do this because I absolutely love it. Yes. I love talking to people. I love learning from people. So it is a passion project as well. Yes. And so when you're doing it for that reason and the right reasons, you just keep moving, and the opportunities will show and present themselves, and you will find your own lane.
Yeah, that is so true. Now, networking and getting out and connecting with others and collaborating with others, what has been your experience in that space?
Yes, so I love to collaborate. I'm being very intentional this year. I have joined clubs and different networking groups. so that I could get more, because that's not natural for me. Like I can, for sure, I have a family of 5. I have a husband, I have kids, and that is a lot of my time as well. So sometimes when you have such a heavy family life, you have to be intentional about putting yourself in spaces with like-minded individuals, because it's very easy to just get stuck at home and just create, but stuck at home and that's my happy place. That's where I'd rather be. That is where I'd rather be, if we're being honest. But I know in order for me to expand, I have to get out there. So I suggest joining groups and joining finding your tribe, find like-minded individuals, and place yourself in spaces and invest in yourself in that way. Because it's huge. As far as like live events, I literally will go to events. Like I shout out to Megan. I just did the Women in Radio event that she had a conference, not little, let me not disrespect, a wonderful conference in Atlanta. And I had the opportunity of networking there. I am not a person who just goes and just be chit-chatting with everybody. It depends on my mood.
Yes.
Depends on my energy. Sometimes I'm on, sometimes I'm not. But and I wasn't on that day, to be honest with you. But what I did is I literally reached out to everyone afterwards. And I was able to hear certain people speak. And from that, I've collaborated with one of the speakers, you know. And so it's just knowing who you are, being okay, giving yourself grace, because you don't have to be on all the time. It's okay. Give yourself grace, but follow up. You know, I might not have walked up to her while I was there because I have social anxiety from a little bit on certain days.
Absolutely.
But I did follow up and let her know I was interested in collaborating, because the reality is I know what I have to offer. I know that I have something to offer. And so at the end of the day, when I'm reaching out, it is not because I just want to learn from you. It's also, how can I be of service to you?
Absolutely. It has to be a two-way street. And that's right. That is so important too. When we are going to these events and reaching out to people, we can't just be looking it's in it for me. It's not going to work if that's the mindset.
It doesn't work. And even if I am looking for people to just be able to pour into and to mentor, what's going to make you different from the other 10 people who want that same thing? You know what I mean? So it's, just being intentional again, and having a plan, knowing what you need, what you want, who you need to be associated with, what you can offer them, what they can offer you. Sometimes it's not a good fit, and that's okay too.
And that's okay. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm really loving all the things that you're doing, especially the journey that you got there. Because some people again think it's a straight line, and we know it's not. We know it's not. And so how you achieved where you are may be different how someone else achieved it. And so
it's going to be different.
It is going to be different. But I still say, regardless of the path, you have to be grateful for every step that you've taken within that path.
Yes.
Because that's so important.
I agree.
And so you spoke on mentoring. Have you mentored other young people or other individuals wanting to get into this space?
Yeah. So I've always helped the Steve and Marjorie Harvey Foundation. I host a lot of their Girl Power Hour events where they do different workshops and conferences for young girls ages 13 to 18. They do these workshops and they create relationships with them, provide mentoring, as well as just workshops to help them to become better young ladies, better versions of themselves, to be specific. So I've had the opportunity to mentor and help through that program. I've also I've had interns. I have volunteers from the different colleges here in Atlanta. I actually have 4 new volunteers who I'll be helping and mentoring this summer. So I definitely am always open to it. I'm an open book. You can reach out to me and I'm going to help you in any way that I can. That's just always been and I haven't been asked enough for me to be like, no, I don't have the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't anyone who asks, I'm able to help. So I don't have anything official as far as mentoring, but
Right.
I've definitely worked with interns, volunteers from the colleges,
Mm-hmm.
and I also volunteer and help out in these different organizations as well.
Absolutely. I tell you, this is so fantastic. So when you decided to move afternoon tea to YouTube, what major changes did you have to make this happen?
It's huge. It's huge. So, being on a radio station, you have people who are listening just because of the radio station. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Of
Yes.
course, we had our own audience who, we were on at noon, lunchtime, turn on the radio, listen to Maria Jordan. So that was easy. YouTube is starting from scratch.
Yes.
You're moving an audience in a way to a different outlet that they don't do.
Yeah.
Most people who are listening to the radio are not on YouTube.
That's right.
So what I'm finding is I'm having to rebuild in that way, which I love.
Okay.
The other change is the expense. The expense, me being on air didn't cost me a thing. Me investing in a studio to record,
Yes.
that changes things. So it's
Mhm.
an investment, but it's worth it. I love it. I love it in person. So on air, most of my guests would call in.
Okay.
So they didn't have to physically be. I had a lot of actors from DeAndre Winfield, Whitefield. He was on the Cosby Show. He was in LA. Flex and Shanice, I
Hmm.
had them call in. They're in LA. So
Yeah.
it allows you to be able to do these interviews
Yes.
without it being in person. They call in, no big deal. Well, it's different now. I need you to be sitting beside me on my set.
Yes, exactly.
So it changes the availability
Mhm.
of artists and guests. It's just a different dynamic, but I'm up for the challenge.
Oh, yeah.
We literally just launched in March. In March, the end of March, our first show was with Carter the Body from All the Queen's Men on BET.
Yes. Okay.
And we launched on the 21st of March, and her show alone, we got like 800 views. Like, it was
Wow.
just a great show.
That's
And that's just
awesome.
a start. It was just a
Exactly.
start. And
Congratulations.
yeah, thank you. So it's just the beginning. And again, I'm loving it. I'm loving the guests I've had, and we're recording. It's been a great experience.
This is awesome. I love it. So please let everyone know where they can find the new show,
Yeah.
and any other updates that you have, for your brand.
Absolutely. Well, thank you all for joining us and for having me. Again, my name is Maria Jordan. You can reach me at IamMariaJordan.com. Afternoon Tea Radio airs on YouTube. It's Afternoon Tea Radio podcast on YouTube. And it's every Thursday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. And I also have a book, a children's book, The Secret Keeper, Perfect the Way You Are. It's a children's book for elementary school age range to middle school. And it's available on Amazon and also on my website. So please go subscribe to our YouTube channel. And I also have, if you're into relationships, I have a podcast with my husband, Karis Jordan. We do a podcast every Friday. It's called We Need to Talk with the Jordans, and it is a whole good time. So you can check that out as well. And just follow me it's I Am Maria Jordan on all social media platforms, and you can get all my information. I hope to
Oh my goodness. Oh my God, Maria, I am loving it.
Thank
Let me
you.
tell you, I want to thank you for being my guest for this episode. It has been indeed a pleasure.
Yes.
I also want to thank my viewers and listeners as well. Thank you for joining us to
Absolutely.
explore the depths and of our guest's vision and purpose. Just know that your vision is the compass guiding you through life, and your purpose is the fuel that propels you forward. Keep dreaming, keep believing, and keep pursuing your purpose. Every step you take brings you closer to that fulfillment of that purpose. I am your host, Dr. Sharon H. Porter, and until next time, live life with vision and purpose. Have a great evening. Thank you for joining another episode of Vision and Purpose Podcast. Please share, like, and subscribe. Please join us every Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time.